At the recent AGM, you used words like moving quickly, nimble and agile, so that BlueScope can execute its new strategies for the future, not traits often associated with heavy manufacturing. What will BlueScope need to do to change, particularly to become more agile and get where you want to go?
BlueScope, like all manufacturing companies today, has to move much quicker than it did in the past, where most of our business is now either on the doorstep of Asia or in Asia, or dependent on Asia. And those countries are changing and changing very quickly. As Graham mentioned, we were recently in China, and we can see that things are slowing down in China in the manufacturing area and moving more towards a service-based industry. And therefore we've got to change because our markets are changing, and they're changing faster than we have historically done. So what we're seeing at the moment is that the strategy that was being developed is actually in execution. We've seen some very dramatic things happen over the last couple of months, including the acquisition of the other half of North Star, the review in Port Kembla and in New Zealand, and both of those things we've seen all of our workforce move much quicker than they have in the past because they understand the problem, and we know we need to move quicker if we're going to succeed.
You've recently been to North Star. Do you envisage there'll be big changes there with this new ownership structure that you've got?
Not by the ownership structure itself. North Star is an incredibly successful organisation. It's successful because of where it is and how it operates with its customers within a fairly tight power zone within the North America. It's a marvellous business there. And what we want to do is the existing management to continue to innovate in what they are doing, ways in which they can deal with their customers, way in which they can extract more volume out of the plant that they've got. They've been very effective at that in the past, and we look to them to continue to strive to drive higher returns from that business.
Slightly closer to home, in terms of the Australian and New Zealand operations, what do you think the future looks like in terms of encouraging that to happen more, trying to get people moving quicker and together in the right direction?
Well, I think it is the working together, and the Strive to Thrive has demonstrated that when the organisation puts its mind to it and everybody understands what the goal is, everyone can become more flexible in the way they operate. And whether that is the employees, the unions, management, everyone's had to work together along with the government and the community to actually ensure that we survive and in fact flourish. The company needs to be able to work together better and to talk amongst ourselves to ensure that we do all the things we need to do to drive the outcomes we're looking for.
You've also spoken about innovation, which is clearly stated as one of the capabilities BlueScope wants to deliver on in the strategy. What does innovation mean to you for BlueScope?
Well, innovation is many things. Some of it's about doing research and development, and that's a very important part, and BlueScope holds more patents than just about any other industrial company in Australia, mainly around products and process. But innovation is not limited to that. Innovation is limited to continuous improvement in the steelworks or in any part of our business. And at the recent board visit to Port Kembla, we saw some terrific examples of doing things differently than the past, assessing the risk that's there, and then taking the change of process to deliver a better outcome. People working together do things differently, and that's what the innovation main drive is in many parts of the company.
Do you believe BlueScope has the right skills and the mindset to be an innovative company?
Not yet. Not to the degree we want to actually move forward. I think there are lots of areas where we're extremely good, but we need to actually have some processes within the company that harnesses the innovation that's going on there and provides the atmosphere whereby people were prepared to do things differently than they have in the past. So that's work in progress, but really the Strive to Thrive thing in particular has demonstrated that we have the raw ingredients, we have some absolutely fantastic people, but we need to in fact ensure that we gather all of their good ideas and implement them.
The board's confirmed that steelmaking will continue in Australia and New Zealand, but cost competition and delivering value are the keys to that. What do you think the company needs to do to be competitive and to succeed on that level?
Well, we need to ensure that we never stop looking for ways to reduce the cost of our manufacturing in all parts of the business, not just at the steelworks, but in everything we do. All of the other steel companies out there are struggling, and they're all doing exactly the same thing. They're looking for ways in which they can drop their overall cost base to ensure that they are successful going forward. We just have to be ahead of them. Strive to Thrive has enabled us to get a little bit ahead of the curve, but it's an ever-ending sort of process. We must continue to strive to get costs out of the business.
Where do you think the greatest opportunities for growth in the business lie?
Oh, look, I think every part of the business has opportunities to grow. Clearly, the strategies identified a few areas: the buildings business, the coated and painted lines, and North Star as being key areas where we would like to invest. But in the commodity steel area, they can grow their profitability significantly by ensuring that their costs are there and they hang on to every piece of volume domestically that we can actually place into the market.
In terms of going forward from now, what do you think are BlueScope's greatest assets, and what do you think are your priorities?
Well, the key priority is to continue the great work, in terms of safety. It's our number one priority. We don't want to have anybody hurt, whether it be our employees, contractors, or anyone in the community where we operate. So that remains our absolutely number one priority. We can only execute that through the people that we've got, and in travelling around with Graham and visiting most of the sites around, it's very clear there's a lot of committed employees of this company, all wanting to ensure that it succeeds. And I think if we can harness the people in the organisation, then we'll certainly be able to work our way through what is a very difficult market situation and continue to prosper.